Have you ever lived a life so full of noise that silence felt like a rebellion? Jane Kim had. And hers wasn't just any kind of silence, it was the type that seeped into your bones, that stripped you of every identity people had forced upon you until you were left with nothing but breath and restraint. She stood quietly by the window of a tiny one-room apartment tucked in a modest district of Seoul. Rain tapped gently on the glass, the sky bruised in shades of slate and steel. The city pulsed just beyond her reach, loud, busy, unapologetically alive, while she remained still, as though the world had moved on without her. Jane was 24. Sharp. Elegant. Calm like a surface with storms beneath. But most importantly, forgotten. Or so she wished. To the world, she was nobody. To her adoptive mother, she was a burden. To the chaebol empire of JK Group, she was a last-minute charity case, an African girl absorbed into a Korean dynasty after a global PR campaign painted her as a rags-to-riches story. But Jane knew better. The riches had never come. Only rules. And expectations. And silence. Her true last name had long been scrubbed from documents. Her biological roots buried under years of luxury, private tutors, and cold shoulders. In the public eye, she was fortunate. In private corridors, she was foreign. In her own soul, she was something in between, neither here nor there. So, she vanished. Not from the world, but from that world. She took up a part-time job at a modest supermarket on the east side of Mapo district. It was the kind of place where people didn't wear brands, they wore stories. The shelves weren't always full, but the gossip was. The old ladies smiled at her. The manager scolded her gently. The staff called her Jinae. Not Jane. Not Heiress. Not Project. For the first time in years, she wasn't being watched. And that's where she met him. Jerry Lee entered like a misplaced sentence in a carefully written paragraph, too casual, too familiar, and far too curious for his own good. He wasn't tall. Not in the chaebol sense. But he had something else, presence. That subtle arrogance of someone who had learned to charm life's ugliest corners into something resembling comfort. "Miss, you dropped this," he said on their first meeting, holding out a sachet of instant coffee she hadn't realized she dropped. His smile was not the rehearsed kind Jane had grown used to. It was reckless. Lopsided. Real. "Thanks," she replied, eyes cautious. "Don't thank me yet," he added. "I charged you for it." She stared. He grinned. That was the beginning. Rebecca was the second piece of the puzzle. Her friend, her mirror, her contrast. Loud where Jane was quiet. Dreamy where Jane was grounded. Korean. Pretty. Hopelessly in love with chaebol dramas and rich men she'd never meet. "Honey, you have the kind of face they put in wedding catalogs," Rebecca said one evening as they stocked rice. "If I had your cheekbones, I'd marry into the Kang family." Jane smiled. Not because it was funny, but because it was easier than explaining she'd eaten at the Kang family's table once. And had been ignored the entire meal. Rebecca had no idea who Jane really was. And Jane intended to keep it that way. The secret tasted sweet. Liberating. Until Jerry's questions began. "You don't talk about your family," he said one evening as they walked past the Han River. "Everyone talks about family here. Even the ones they hate." Jane's reply was soft. But every syllable carried weight. Some stories are easier lived than told. Jerry didn't press. He was like that. Observant, but not pushy. Charming, but not aggressive. And Jane began to feel something dangerous. Trust. It had started subtly. A shared sandwich during a late shift. A coffee outside the station. A long walk with no destination. And then one evening, beneath a flickering street lamp, he had said it. "I think I like you." Jane's silence was not refusal. It was survival. She wanted to say, "I like you too." She wanted to say, "But I'm not who you think I am." She wanted to say, "If you knew the truth, you wouldn't smile like that." Instead, she asked, "Why?" He shrugged. "You're quiet. But not empty. You see things." No one had ever described her like that before. People called her brilliant. Or exotic. Or disciplined. Or grateful. But never seen. And suddenly, Jane was afraid. Not of Jerry. But of the part of her heart that had started to believe in him. Weeks passed. Seasons shifted, and Jane began to laugh again. At Jerry's silly jokes. At Rebecca's ridiculous matchmaking plans. At herself, when she burnt the rice or spilled detergent on aisle 3. Her apartment remained small. Her phone remained silent. But her world was beginning to bloom. Until the email came. It arrived at midnight. Urgent travel confirmation, JK Group. A reminder from her mother's office. She was expected on the company's private jet to the United States in 3 days. A business conference, followed by a family holiday. Publicity. Cameras. Choreographed dinners. The kind of life she'd buried beneath supermarket shelves and Jerry Lee's laughter. Jane stared at the screen for hours. Her heart beat faster, not with excitement, but dread. Could she go back to that world? Would she survive it again? Or worse, would she lose this new one she'd created? By dawn, she had made her choice. She would not go. And with that decision, the clock began to tick on everything she never saw coming. There are moments that don't feel like decisions until it's too late to undo them. Jane Kim skipping the flight to the United States was one of those moments. To the world, it was a silent refusal. To her family, it was disobedience. To Jane, it was the first time she had chosen herself. She never texted her mother. Never called the assistant. She simply didn't show up. Instead, she stayed behind, in Seoul, in the life she had built with her own hands. And in the presence of the only man who had ever made her feel like she didn't have to apologize for existing. "Can you keep a secret?" Jerry asked her one night, as they sat on a bench outside the convenience store, the soft hum of the city whispering in the background. Jane turned her face to him. "I already am one." He laughed. "You really are strange." "No," she said, smiling faintly. "I'm just unfinished." Jerry studied her like she was a map he couldn't quite read. "Sometimes I think you're from another world. Not just another neighborhood. Another galaxy. You wouldn't be wrong." The conversation always circled near the edge of truth, but never quite touched it. And Jane was fine with that. She liked the space between knowing and wondering. It was safer than exposure. But Jerry was getting closer. And Jane could feel it. It wasn't just in the way he looked at her now, longer, softer, searching. It was in the way he showed up early for shifts just to walk her home. In the way he brought her black coffee without asking. In the way he started telling her things he probably hadn't told anyone else. "I used to think love was something rich people had the luxury to afford," he said, one evening as they strolled past the river again, clouds moving lazily above them. "And now? I don't know," he said. "Maybe I was wrong. Or maybe you're the exception." Jane's breath caught in her chest. He meant it. Jerry was falling for her. Slowly. Honestly. And dangerously. Because Jane Kim, the real Jane Kim, was a ticking time bomb. And love, as beautiful as it was, didn't fit neatly into her chaotic life. But her heart was no longer following logic. Rebecca noticed it first. "You like him," she said bluntly while they stocked instant noodles together. Jane paused. "Who?" Rebecca rolled her eyes. "Who else?" "Jerry Lee. You blush every time he calls you Jin-ae." "I do not blush." "You do," Rebecca grinned. "And you smile like someone gave you a secret and told you to guard it with your life." Jane didn't reply. Rebecca leaned in. "Honey, I'm happy for you. But be careful. Guys like Jerry, they don't just love. They dream. And sometimes dreams crash." That last line hung heavy in the air. Jane filed it in the quiet space of her mind, the one that stored warnings she didn't know how to respond to. A week later, Jerry held her hand for the first time. They had just finished a shift. Rain was pouring. They ran together, laughing, soaked to the skin. And then they stopped beneath a flickering streetlight, breathing, dripping, glowing. He reached out gently, slowly, like she was something fragile and precious. "I'm not good at this," he whispered. Jane didn't move. "Good at what?" "Waiting." "For what?" "For the moment when I get to say this." He paused. "I like you. I like you so much it's messing up my plans." Her eyes filled. Not with tears. But with the kind of silence only the heart can translate. "You shouldn't," she replied, voice barely above the rain. "Why not?" "Because I'm a lie." Jerry shook his head. "No. You're the most real thing I've ever known." And just like that, Jane stepped off the edge she had built for years. She let go. She fell. Not down, but into something. Something terrifying. Something pure. Something like love. Back in Gangnam, the headlines were changing. JK Group chaebol daughter missing at US event. Adopted heiress absent during high-profile tragedy. A jet crash, a missing name, and a silent family. Jane hadn't turned on the television. She didn't need to. She could feel the storm coming. But for now, she sat with Jerry, her head resting on his shoulder, the city blinking around them like fireflies, and she whispered to herself, maybe just one more day. One more lie. One more night pretending this could last. She didn't know it yet, but the countdown had already begun. What do you call a decision that saves your life but ruins everything else? For Jane Kim, staying back from the trip was her silent rebellion, a whisper in a world that only heard screams. She didn't get on the jet. She didn't attend the JK Group's prestigious business retreat in the United States. She didn't wear the tailored suit. Didn't smile for the cameras. Didn't play the part of the obedient daughter who owed everything to a family that had given her a name but never a home. Instead, she stayed in Seoul. With Jerry. With laughter. With simplicity. With freedom. But fate, as it always does, had a plan more twisted than love could soften. The news broke 3 days later. A private jet belonging to the JK Group had crashed shortly after takeoff from Washington, D.C. The images flashed across every television screen in South Korea, twisted metal, burning wreckage, smoke curling like a question mark into a grey American sky. 7 passengers. 2 crew members. All presumed dead. Jane froze in her apartment as the news anchor spoke. Her hands trembled, holding a cup of untouched coffee. She hadn't known most of the passengers personally, high-ranking executives, legal consultants, a senior assistant to the chairman, but the guilt was instant and heavy. The seat next to the executive chairman's son was supposed to be hers. She was supposed to be there. She was supposed to die. Instead, she was alive, and in Jerry's arms, just last night, laughing like the world had no teeth. Her phone buzzed. Her mother. The screen read only, "Mother," calling. Jane didn't pick up. She didn't have to. She already knew what the voice on the other end would sound like, cold, bitter, and venomously precise. The message came through that evening. Your absence will not go unnoticed. You embarrassed this family in life, now in death. You will regret this. No mention of grief. No questions about how Jane was doing. No concern for her well-being. Only the cold blade of blame, sliding neatly beneath her ribs. Jane stared at the message for a long time. Then she deleted it. But the words stayed, etched into her mind like scars. Jane. Jerry's voice was soft that night as they sat in the rooftop stairwell of her apartment building. The wind was sharp. The stars blurred. Her shoulders were stiff with silence. I saw the news, he said. The jet, you were supposed to be on it, weren't you? Jane turned slowly to him. Her face was calm, but her eyes were oceans. He reached for her hand. You don't have to tell me. But I'm here. She wanted to speak. To explain. To say, yes, I should be dead. But I'm not. And now the only person who ever saw me as human might see me as a fraud. Instead, she said, I'm sorry. For what? For not telling you the truth. Jerry paused, confused. What truth? She didn't continue. The words knotted in her throat. He didn't press. That was the thing about Jerry. He gave her space, even when she needed the opposite. And maybe that was why it hurt so much when the cracks finally began to spread. The chaos arrived in waves. 2 days after the crash, Jane's face appeared on a gossip blog. Not as Jin-ae, the sweet supermarket girl, but as Jane Kim, the adopted daughter of Madam Kang Yoon-hee, CEO of JK Group. The article used words like mysterious disappearance, illegitimate influence, privileged runaway. There were photos, grainy, zoomed-in shots of her working at the supermarket, walking beside Jerry, holding his hand. Jerry was in them too. Captured, exposed. Within hours, the story went viral. By morning, the entire country knew that Jane Kim, the forgotten heiress, had been living a double life. And that she had skipped the doomed business trip without explanation. By noon, the media had already assigned her a title. The Chaebol Who Lived. Jerry didn't text her that day, nor the next. Jane sat in her dim apartment, lights off, phone vibrating endlessly on the floor. Calls from media houses. Emails from journalists. Voicemails from her mother. She didn't answer a single one. But then came the call she couldn't ignore. It was from Mr. Park, a retired family butler, one of the few who had ever shown her kindness in the JK household. "Miss Jane," he said softly. "They're saying you leaked your own photos. That you knew what was going to happen. That you staged your absence." Jane swallowed hard. "You believe them?" "No," he said simply. "But you should know, someone close to you gave them what they needed. Someone who knew where you were. Who you were with." The world stopped. Her breath hitched. And in that one moment, everything made cruel, unbearable sense. She hung up. Opened her laptop. Went to the article again. Scrolled to the bottom. Photo credits, J. Lee and Partners. Jane stared at the name. Jerry Lee. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She didn't throw her phone or curse the walls. She simply stood, slowly, calmly, and walked to the mirror. For a long moment, she studied her reflection. Not the eyes. Not the lips. But the face behind the face. The girl who had once thought love might save her. "Never again," she whispered. Then she turned off the light. What do you do when the person who gave you peace becomes the reason for your war? Jane Kim sat in the quiet of her apartment, the headlines echoing louder than the rain outside. Her name, her real name, was on every screen, every feed, every whisper across Seoul. Heiress in hiding, Jane Kim and the love that betrayed her. Did JK Group's adopted daughter survive by design? Photos by J. Lee and Partners surface amidst jet crash scandal. She didn't need a press release to understand what had happened. Jerry had sold her out. The boy who made her laugh in the rain. The man who held her hand like it was something fragile. The only person she had ever trusted with the pieces she couldn't even name. He had handed her identity to the world, packaged and tagged, ready for exploitation. All for what? Fame? Money? Access to a life he once said he didn't belong in? Jane stood in front of her bathroom mirror again, gripping the edges of the sink. Her reflection no longer looked like hers. It looked like a stranger. A woman carved by betrayal. A girl whose heart had been used as currency. Her fingers trembled slightly. Not from fear. Not anymore. But from restraint. Because the Jane who had hidden for years was gone. And the one who remained, she was done hiding. She returned to the supermarket the next morning. No disguise. No soft hat. No glasses. Just Jane Kim, in plain sight. The whispers started immediately. Staff members avoided her eyes. Customers stared too long. Even the manager, who once scolded her for misplacing barcodes, now bowed awkwardly and said, "Miss Kim, if there's anything we can do." There wasn't. She didn't come to ask for favors. She came to confront him. Jerry was in aisle 5, rearranging detergent bottles. Just like always. Calm. Casual. As if the world wasn't burning just outside the glass doors. He didn't see her until he turned, and froze. "Jane," he breathed. She didn't speak. Her eyes did. They asked questions she wouldn't dare put into words. Why? Was it worth it? Was I just another step on your ladder? "Let me explain," Jerry said, taking a cautious step forward. "I didn't mean for it to happen like this." Her voice was cold. Crisp. Like steel on porcelain. "But you meant for something to happen." He said nothing. "That photographer, J. Lee and Partners. That's you. Isn't it?" He didn't deny it. "I submitted the pictures. I thought, maybe someone would recognize you. Maybe it would help you reconnect with your world." Jane blinked slowly. "You exposed my life. My face. My pain. And you're calling it help?" Jerry looked down. "I didn't think they'd spin it like that. I was desperate, Jane. I needed connections. I needed a breakthrough. I didn't mean to hurt you. You needed a story, Jerry," she snapped, voice sharp now. "And I was the headline." There was silence. The kind that felt heavier than a scream. "I didn't know how to tell you," he whispered. When I found out who you really were, I panicked. I thought you were playing me, hiding from me. You didn't trust me, Jane said flatly. And now the world doesn't either. He tried to reach for her hand, but she stepped back. No, she said firmly. You don't get to touch me like I'm yours. His face fell. I cared about you, he said. You cared about the version of me that made you feel powerful, she replied. The girl who didn't outshine you. The girl who didn't belong to skyscrapers and stock prices. You cared, until you realized I did. And with that, she walked away. Past the cashiers. Past the gossiping customers. Past the man who broke her for a byline. This wasn't heartbreak. This was awakening. Back at home, Jane stood on the balcony of her flat, staring into the grey Seoul skyline. She had tried so hard to run from her past. From the boardrooms. The suits. The stiff family dinners where she was never introduced by name. But no matter how far she ran, her blood still belonged to them. And now the world knew. Maybe it was time to stop running. Maybe it was time to take her place. She turned, picked up her phone, and dialed a number she hadn't touched in years. The voice on the other end was cold, formal, familiar. JK Group, this is Executive Secretary Minute speaking. This is Jane Kim, she said clearly. Tell Madam Kang I want a meeting. A pause. Sharp inhale. Then, yes, Miss Kim. I'll schedule it right away. She ended the call. No tears. No trembling. Only a single truth humming in her mind. If the world wanted a chaebol heiress, she'd show them exactly what that looked like.